New mRNA vaccine targeting all known flu strains shows early promise. Hey everybody, Venomous here again. A new mRNA vaccine targeting all known flu strains in a single shot is showing early promise in animal studies and is opening the door to a wide range of possibilities with the vaccine technology, including potentially preventing the next influenza pandemic. University of Pennsylvania researchers published their findings in the journal Science Thursday, showing the vaccine produced high levels of antibody protection in mice and ferrets against all flu strains, which could one day help pave the way for a universal flu shot. The research rapidly lifts mRNA technology to new heights and builds off the progress made in the COVID-19 pandemic in accelerating the development of the new vaccine platform. Oh well, thank goodness for COVID-19, really helps speed things up. And you can bet that no way Anthony Fauci and experts discussed a possible transformative event that would allow them to advance a new vaccine technology prior to the pandemic. That never happened, did it? Oh wait.
We blow the system up. I mean, obviously we can't just turn off the spigot on the system we have and then say, hey, everyone in the world should get this new vaccine we haven't given to anyone yet. But there must be some way that we grow vaccines mostly in eggs, the way we did in 1947.
In order to make the transition from getting out of the tried and true egg growing, which we know gives us results that can be beneficial. I mean, we've done well with that, to something that has to be much better. You have to prove that this works, and then you've got to go through all of the clinical trials, phase 1s, phase 2s, phase 3, and then show that this particular product is going to be good over a period of years. That alone, if it works perfectly, is going to take a decade.
There might be a need or even an urgent call for an entity of excitement out there that's completely disruptive, that's not beholden to bureaucratic strings and processes.
So we really do have a problem of how the world perceives influenza, and it's going to be very difficult to change that unless you do it from within and say, I don't care what your perception is, we're going to address the problem in a disruptive way and in an iterative way, because you do need both.
Which has already been effectively used in billions of people worldwide.
We are laughing.
The goal is to establish a baseline level of immunity memory that could then be recalled when a new pandemic strain emerges. Unlike seasonal flu shots that protect against existing circulating strains each year, but offer little protection against strains that spill over from animals and spark pandemics like H1N1 in 2009, this shot could theoretically provide immunity against all new flu strains. Imagine if the population was primed with this vaccine. What we might see is not necessarily protection from infection with new pandemic strains, but a reduction in hospitalizations and severe disease. That's really our main goal. So that's just it now. This is our world of vaccines. They don't offer protection. It's just about hospitalizations and severe disease. That's what we have now. Great. It really shows that we can use mRNA vaccines in ways that we really hadn't thought of before. Yeah, like how we can use them to not give people immunity to diseases. In fact, we don't offer any protection in that way. We can just reduce hospitalizations and severe disease. That's about it. Just like therapeutics, but not a therapeutic. A vaccine. And it also brings hope of one day preventing hundreds of thousands of hospitalizations and deaths from flu globally each year. Now just hold on a moment here. According to my research, before Corona ever made its appearance, the numbers when it comes to influenza deaths are sketchy at best. In many ways, COVID-19 was just a mirror of influenza. The only real difference was that there was a lot of testing done. As useless as that testing may have been, that was something they rarely did with the influenza virus, was actual testing. The fact is, no one knows how many people die after being infected with the flu virus. Death estimates are not based on body counts, lab tests, or autopsies. For the most part, it's all based on computer modeling. In fact, anyone that died for any reason was often counted as a flu death, Does that ring any bells for anyone? Talking deaths from slippery sidewalks, snowy roads, freezing temperatures, plus all the winter heart failure, lung failure, and deaths from cancer. All excess mortality in winter is considered death by flu. And because the flu was rarely an underlying cause of death, the CDC created the sound-alike term influenza-associated death. The CDC unabashedly decided to create a mass market for the flu vaccine by enlisting the media into panicking the public. An obedient and unquestioning media obliged by hyping the numbers, and 10 years later is obliging still. But I digress. The vaccine uses lipid nanoparticles, a successful delivery system for mRNA vaccines. The vaccine induces broad immunity in mice and ferrets who had never seen the virus before. That mimics how the vaccine might perform in young children, Hensley said. But we found that the vaccine can also induce these broad responses in animals who had already experienced and recovered from a flu infection. That means that the vaccine were proven to be safe and effective in humans and successfully approved. It wouldn't just be limited in use among young children who have never before had a flu infection. It could also be used widely in the general population, including in seniors who are often at a higher risk of serious complications. Oh joy, vaccines for everyone. We know that there will be another spillover of an influenza virus with pandemic potential. Oh really? Very confident about that, aren't you?
We also face a new threat that the next epidemic has a good chance of originating on a computer screen of a terrorist intent on using genetic engineering to create a synthetic version of the smallpox virus or a contagious and highly deadly strain of flu.
The number 1 in the alphabet is A, and the 9 is I. AI. Now, you would automatically think, what, artificial intelligence, right? That's one way you could think of it. Or you could think of it as avian influenza. Isn't that funny? AI, avian influenza, aka bird flu. Bam, there's your connection. So you got COVID, Kobe, dash, AI, avian influenza. And now it's like the big connection I just made today. Because I really do think that once this coronavirus is going to like fizzle out, you're going to get hit with another virus. Because they're already preparing for a vaccine for the avian influenza. I'm thinking that they're going to do bird flu again, basically. So you just watch. Once coronavirus drops out, then they're going to hit you with this virus. And they'll already have the vaccine to save you. I don't know. That's my...
Based on what you've learned from this pandemic, what can we apply to future pandemics, which will surely come down the pike, perhaps more than ever because it's a crowded planet. We've got airplanes which are constantly traversing the world, thousands of them every day, which are little tiny petri dishes intermingling continents.
Yeah, I think we have to recognize, I've always said that I think the COVID pandemic was a wake-up call. I don't believe it's the great pandemic. I believe the great pandemic is still in the future, and that's going to be a bird flu pandemic for man. It's going to have significant mortality in the 10 to 50% range. It's going to be trouble.
For the first time since foul play was declared a global pandemic last year, 45 million people have been infected across the globe, with more than 3.5 million killed by the virus.
Foul play.
Now, how serious is this monkey flu? Not serious at all, because it's not true. See, the government likes to covertly test the emergency response system every once in a while to see how people mobilize, the authorities respond, and the public react.
Wait a minute, so this is just a drill?
Exactly. They do it all the time. You remember H1N1?
Yeah.
A drill. Remember SARS? Yeah. A drill. Y'all remember the bird flu? Was a drill too? No, that one was true. Don't mess with them birds.
Mom said the avian flu was already one of the world's deadliest viruses. In the third wave, the others modified it made it unstoppable, and the birds spread it across the planet.
It is not too crazy to think that an outbreak of a novel avian virus could occur in China somewhere. An entity of excitement.
The biggest question is, how do we get this into people? Because what's incorporated in the vaccine are targets for viruses that aren't currently circulating in people. Less than 40% of Canadians opted to get a flu shot in 2020, according to the most recent federal data, despite being recommended and available for everyone older than 6 months old. In the US, that number is somewhat higher at more than 50%. This is the reality, Kobringer said. You can have the best vaccine on the planet, but if nobody wants it or takes it, then it's useless. Let's flip that. You can make everybody in the world take this magical potion, but if it doesn't do what you said it was gonna do, then it's useless. You can move the goalpost all you want. You can change definitions, but we all know what this is actually about. And it's not about saving lives.
Tell me this. What have you done today to earn your place in this crowded world?
We've now passed 7 billion on this planet. When I was born, it was a little over 2. Food prices are rising, oil is ending. When our resources end in 20 years, given everything that we know of our species, do you really think we're going to just share? Our answer to this is Janus. The purpose of Janus is to sterilize the entire human race.
No way!